During the Civil War, army doctors carried the petals of one common garden flower to pack into wounds and stop the bleeding. That flower is calendula, and it will grow in a 10-inch pot on your porch. It's one of 11 herbs that used to fill every home garden in America, back when the garden was the family's herb shelf. Salves, teas, and poultices, all of it grown in containers small enough for a balcony. Let me show you the 11 herbs that turn a patio into the kind of herb garden every home once kept. There was a time not that long ago when a scraped knee or a sore throat didn't send anyone to the drugstore. It sent them to the back step, where a row of pots and a few flower beds held everything a family needed to feel a little better by evening. Your great-grandmother almost certainly knew half of these plants by name, and she grew them in whatever she had: old buckets, dented washtubs, cracked crocks by the kitchen door. You don't need an acre. You don't need a greenhouse. You need a sunny ledge, a bag of potting mix, and the same 11 plants she leaned on. Most of them cost a few dollars, and several will regrow or self-seed for free after that. So let's start with that Civil War flower, the one that still earns its spot right up front. Calendula, sometimes called pot marigold, is the workhorse of the old home apothecary. Herbalists have used its bright orange petals for centuries as a skin remedy, packed onto minor cuts, scrapes, and chapped skin to soothe and calm. According to Herbal Reality, calendula flower preparations have such a long track record for minor wounds and skin inflammation that the European Medicines Agency lists them based on traditional use going back decades. In a container, calendula could not be easier. Give it a 10 to 12-inch pot with drainage holes, ordinary potting soil, and a spot that gets at least 6 hours of sun. Water it when the top inch feels dry, and it flowers within weeks. Here's the lovely part. The more flowers you pick, the more it makes, so a single plant keeps giving all season. To use it the simple way, snap off the open flower heads on a dry morning. Spread the petals on a paper towel until they're crisp, then steep a spoonful in warm oil for a few hours to make a gentle skin oil. Strain it, and you can stir that oil into a homemade salve with a little beeswax. Once you've watched how fast calendula rewards you, you'll understand why the next plant is worth a little more patience. Echinacea, the purple coneflower, is the one most people reach for at the first tickle of a cold. It has long been a folk favorite, brewed into teas and tinctures when the cold season comes around. It's also a stunning plant, so it earns its pot twice over, tradition on one hand and a burst of purple on the other. Echinacea has a deep taproot, so give it a bigger container, 14 inches or more, filled with well-draining mix, and set it where it bakes in full sun for most of the day. It's a perennial, which means one pot can come back year after year without you replanting a thing. In the first season, let it settle in and simply enjoy the flowers, because the roots need a year to build up strength. From the second year on, you can dig a little of the root in autumn, or dry the cone flowers and petals. To make the tea, chop your harvest, dry it until brittle, store it in a labeled jar, and steep a teaspoon in hot water when someone starts feeling run down. That same tea-making habit carries straight over to the next plant, which most of us already have sitting on the windowsill. Aloe vera might be the most famous first aid plant on earth, and it belongs in every container garden. For generations, people have snapped off a leaf and rubbed the cool inner gel on minor burns, sunburn, and dry, tight skin. It practically grows itself. Aloe wants a snug pot with excellent drainage, cactus or succulent mix rather than heavy soil, and bright light near a sunny window. The one thing it truly hates is soggy roots, so water only when the soil is fully dry all the way down, then leave it alone. Overwatering is the only real way to kill it. Harvesting is as simple as it gets. Cut a lower plump leaf close to the base, slice it open lengthwise with a clean knife, and scoop the clear gel straight onto the skin. If you keep the plant indoors over winter, it'll live for years and slowly pup out baby plants you can pot up and share. One aloe today becomes a whole shelf of them within a couple of seasons. Before we go any further, though, one honest word about all of this. None of these plants replace your doctor, and this isn't medical advice. Old folk remedies are wonderful for everyday comfort, but if you're pregnant, nursing, taking prescription medications, or prone to allergies, check with a professional before you start sipping or slathering anything new. Some of these herbs can interact with medicines or aren't recommended during pregnancy, and a 5-minute conversation now saves you trouble later. Grow them, enjoy them, respect them. With that settled, let's talk about the 2 culinary herbs that pull double duty on the windowsill. Thyme sits in the spice rack of nearly every kitchen, Yet it started life as a medicine long before it seasoned a roast. Thyme tea has traditionally been sipped to ease coughs and soothe a scratchy throat during the winter cold season. The plant is tough, compact, and perfect for a smaller pot. 8 inches is plenty, set in full sun with a light, well-draining soil. It actually prefers to dry out between waterings, so it forgives the forgetful gardener better than almost anything else here. To use it, snip a few sprigs and either toss them in the pot for dinner or steep a small handful in hot water with a spoon of honey for a soothing throat tea. The more you trim it, the bushier and thicker it grows, so regular cutting is a favor, not a harm. A single well-tended thyme plant can keep a kitchen stocked for years. And its close cousin on the same sunny sill has an even longer reputation for calming a rough throat. Sage is another kitchen staple with a deep healing side. For centuries, a warm sage tea or gargle has been a traditional home remedy for a sore, irritated throat. Its soft, silvery leaves are genuinely handsome in a pot too, so it pulls its weight on looks alone. Grow sage in a 10-inch container in full sun, in gritty, well-draining soil, and go easy on the water because it strongly prefers things on the dry side. Pinch off a few leaves whenever you need them, and don't be shy about it. For the classic remedy, pour hot water over a couple of fresh leaves, let it steep and cool a little. Then sip it slowly or use it as a gentle gargle for a scratchy throat. Sage is a perennial in mild climates, so one plant can quietly serve both your kitchen and your medicine shelf for years on end. From the fragrant culinary corner, we now step outside to a plant that soldiers once carried into battle. Yarrow has a reputation stretching back to ancient battlefields, where its crushed leaves were pressed onto wounds to help slow the bleeding. It even carried old names like soldier's woundwort. As Sacred Plant Co. describes, warriors reportedly packed its feathery leaves into cuts to help staunch the flow. In a pot, yarrow is nearly unstoppable. Give it a 12-inch container, full sun, and lean, well-draining soil, and it will thrive on neglect, throwing up flat white flower clusters all summer long. If you tend to forget your plants, this is the one that forgives you. To use it in the traditional first aid way, pick a few clean, fresh leaves, crush or bruise them lightly into a rough green paste, and press that poultice onto a minor scrape. You can also dry the leaves and flowers for a tea that was long used to bring on a sweat during a fever. Cut it back after flowering, and it often blooms a second time. If you're enjoying this little tour of the old home garden, go ahead and subscribe. This channel is all about growing more with less. Now, our next plant is one you've probably been weeding out for years without knowing what you had. Plantain, and I don't mean the banana, is the humble broadleaf weed that herbalists have prized for centuries as a woundwort. Traditionally, it's been used as a drawing poultice, mashed and laid over bug bites, bee stings, and splinters to soothe the itch and help draw things out. Learning Herbs notes it's long been valued as a soothing, regenerative skin herb. You can absolutely grow it on purpose instead of pulling it. Pop it in any 10-inch pot with ordinary soil, give it sun to part shade, and keep it watered. It's about as fussy as a puddle. To make the classic remedy, pick a fresh leaf, crush it well between your fingers until the juice comes out, and press the green pulp onto a sting or bite for quick cooling relief. Old-timers called this the poor man's bandage, and once you've felt it calm a mosquito bite on a summer evening, you'll never look at this weed the same way. Our next plant looks like a cheerful little daisy, but it earned its name honestly. Feverfew has been leaned on in European folk medicine for a very long time, and its name gives away one old use as a fever helper. It's best known, though, as a traditional remedy that people chewed or brewed for headaches, with a long history for easing head pain and tension. As a container plant, it's charming, covered in dozens of small white daisies, and perfectly happy in a 10-inch pot in full sun with well-draining soil. It self-seeds freely, so one plant tends to become a little colony by the following year, which means you rarely have to buy it twice. The traditional way to take it was to eat a leaf or two, often tucked into a sandwich to soften the bitter taste, or to dry the leaves for tea. A quick and important reminder here, feverfew is one to clear with a doctor first, especially if you're pregnant or taking blood thinners. From the flower bed, we head down into the root zone, and a spice you already buy at the store. Ginger surprises people, because most of us have no idea you can grow it from a knob bought in the produce aisle. That warming root has been one of the most trusted home remedies for generations, grated into hot water as a tea to settle an upset stomach or ease a stubborn cough. To grow it, take a plump piece of fresh ginger with a few little bumps or eyes on it and lay it just under the surface of a wide, shallow pot filled with rich, loose soil. Ginger likes warmth, part shade, and steady moisture, so keep it damp but never waterlogged, and be patient because it's a slow starter. In several months, roots fill the whole pot, and you simply tip it out, break off what you need, and replant a piece to start the cycle again. To use it, slice a thumb of fresh ginger, simmer it gently in water, then add honey and a squeeze of lemon for a classic soothing brew on a cold night. Now for a plant most people have never grown, but every old herbalist adored. Marshmallow, the actual plant behind the old-fashioned candy, is a gentle giant of the soothing herb world. Since ancient times, its root has been used as a home remedy for sore, scratchy throats and irritated digestion, because it's packed with a slippery substance called mucilage. Think of it like the natural equivalent of a soft coating that lines and calms a dry, angry throat. It's a tall plant, so give it a large, deep container, 16 inches or more, keep it in full sun to part shade, and water it generously because unlike the desert herbs, this one genuinely likes moisture. In the autumn of its second year, dig some of the root, chop and dry it. Then make a cold water infusion by soaking a spoonful in cool water overnight and straining it in the morning for a silky, throat-soothing drink. It pairs beautifully with the echinacea from earlier, when the whole family is fighting a cold, one for comfort and one for support. And that brings us to the last plant, one that's as much kitchen as it is cabinet. Garlic chives round out the shelf, giving you the gentle, immune-friendly reputation of the onion family in a neat, grassy clump. The whole allium family, garlic and its relatives, has long been used in folk kitchens as a warming, everyday support during cold season, and garlic chives carry that same mild garlicky punch straight into your cooking without the peeling and chopping. They're wonderfully easy in a pot. An 8-inch container, ordinary soil, full sun to part shade, and regular snipping is all they ask, and they faithfully come back year after year. To use them, simply cut the flat green leaves near the base with scissors and scatter them fresh over soups, eggs, and dressings, or steep a generous handful in warm broth. They regrow so fast that one small pot means you'll never buy them from a store again, and the little star-shaped flowers they send up later are edible too. And there you have your full 11, every one of them grown in nothing more than a pot. So there's your old home herb shelf, 11 plants standing where a whole aisle of little bottles used to be. Calendula and yarrow for the skin and the scrapes. Aloe on the windowsill for the burns. Thyme, sage, and marshmallow for the winter throat. Echinacea, ginger, and garlic chives for the days the whole house feels under the weather. Feverfew for the aching head, and humble plantain for every sting the summer throws at you. Not one of them needs a garden bed. A porch, a fire escape, a sunny kitchen sill, that's honestly enough to grow the same living cabinet that families relied on for generations, and to do it for the price of a bag of soil. If stories like this make you want to grow more of your own, stick around the channel. There's plenty more where this came from.